Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? What are you doing?
It's Halloween.
It's not. We got weeks before Halloween.
It's October.
We got weeks before Halloween. You can do that maybe the week that we drop is Halloween week, not 2.5 weeks before.
Kiss me. Put your lips on it.
Why do you have that thing? Where did it even come from?
It's an old man.
God, Lord help him. Take that off, please.
Oh my goodness.
Please. You're too big for this.
Hey, remember when I was working at the haunted house? That's just leftover from
We're not doing that.
the good old days.
We're not doing that.
Hi, everybody.
You're on record? I didn't know you was pressing record.
Welcome to Sipping with Simpkins.
Are you kidding?
Let's go.
I'm your girl, Michael, and this is my husband, Ray. Welcome back to episode number 3. For those of you who have already liked, subscribed, and shared, called, texted,
Appreciate it all.
yes, we've had some good conversations with some close friends and relatives. Maybe not so much relatives, but some friends who are like family, and sometimes friends are more like family than family. We appreciate you.
For sure.
Keep liking, keep subscribing, keep sharing, open to your feedback, comments, suggestions.
Keep the calls coming because you never know who or what the topic of discussion will be.
You can tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what's talking about. Maybe it's a relationship challenge or even success, that like what's made your relationship successful and how you've overcome some challenges, because we know that challenges exist, and even if they don't exist right now, they either have existed or they're coming, because it's just a part of relationships.
Challenges
right?
are on the way.
Yeah. I mean, you
For
just
sure.
you just know how to work through them.
So what are we sipping on? The huge
The huge.
San Pellegrino. Why don't you have that up there?
Yeah.
San Pellegrino.
Little mint, lemon.
Toast.
Career dreams versus married reality.
Good topic.
That's the topic of the day.
Good topic.
Yeah, it's especially interesting because we'll get into how we got where we are now.
Let's get into it.
You feeling okay?
I'm feeling all right.
Yeah, you've been congested.
Yeah.
You sound a little
Seasons
stuffy.
change. Sinuses act up. But the show must go on.
Indeed it does.
So I'm okay.
So, question 1.
Question 1.
How did our career goals clash or align in our 20s?
For me, that's like a 2-part question. It clashed and it was aligned. I think it was aligned from the point that I wanted to make as much money as possible. Who would have ever thought I'd end up in retail? That wasn't even an option. And I can remember after I graduated and took the job with Montgomery County Juvenile Corrections, I realized this wasn't where I needed to be. All along, I was working retail the whole time I was in college and got good at it. And it wasn't even part of the plan.
Yeah, so let's back up a little bit. So we were in college, got pregnant, got married. He graduated first,
Yep.
a quarter ahead of me, moved off campus. I was still on campus. And then what?
I took a job working for the city or the county. And I quickly realized, based on the amount of hostility and aggressiveness you got to have for that job, it wasn't where I needed to be. Naturally, I'm a people person, so I was already working in retail. Just to have a job working through college, come to find out, it was something I actually got good at and was getting promoted every place I went to. So for me, to answer your question, I wanted to make as much money as possible, as fast as possible. And it came with being a co-manager for big box retail, right? I think where the clash comes in, or the friction, is the amount of hours that it was going to take to get to a place like where I am now in my career. Many hours, holidays, weekends. I missed a lot of our son's soccer games and sports that he was doing and stuff because it's retail, it's nights and weekends, and that's what you sign up for. So I knew that it was a trade-off, and everybody's faced with that trade-off. Is it worth it? Some may say, listen, I value my family time. You'll never get those times back. But for me, it was like, I could be the primary breadwinner in the situation, and I can get bonuses and whatever and be able to pay for us to be able to do some things like vacationing often and obviously sports costs. So for me, I was just thinking about it as a hustle. And I think that's where the rub came in our relationship, because a lot of those times you were going by yourself or like taking them to practice or to games on Saturday when I couldn't come to the game and stuff like that. That was, for me, the kind of the gift and the curse.
Yeah, so I think we remember things a little bit differently. I don't feel like we ever really clashed with that. I think I've always been super supportive in terms of your career, your drive, what you were trying to do. And while you were absent a lot, I don't think I gave you a lot of headache.
No. I'm
on
not
that.
saying.
I don't think we clashed in that way. It was something that I just always have understood, that weekends, holidays, it was going to be hit or miss just because of the nature of that business. And I didn't give you, I don't recall a lot of friction where we clashed on that. There were times where I wanted you to possibly plan ahead and like request some time off that maybe you were, maybe had some reservations in doing so because you understood it's holiday season. Like, I can't take the day before Thanksgiving because like that's prime season. So we may have had some conversations about that, but I don't really recall us like really clashing in terms of me, pressuring you like, you're not there, you're not going to games, I'm the only one. Like, I don't feel like we clashed in that way.
No, we didn't. I never said we clashed in that way.
That was part of the question.
I think part of internally, I didn't want to miss those moments.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to miss games. I didn't want to be the last person to show up on Thanksgiving and had to warm my food up. Those aren't things that I see a good example of family, right? That just wasn't. And so I guess the rub and the friction may have been more internal, because you're right, you did understand what I was doing and what it called for, and that was what I signed up for. But for me, it was a trade-off. Is this the right thing to do versus going to work and stuff like that? So it was just something I had to really understand and realize that hopefully this pays off in the long run, and people realize the sacrifice that I'm doing to make sure that I position us as a family in a better situation.
Yeah. So it was more of a self-inflicted clash or some turmoil or some things that you had to manage yourself. But in terms of us and our relationship, there was no real clash or tension. I think we were always pretty aligned with this is what I say all the time. We do what we have to do before we do what we want to do. And you did what you had to do to get to where you wanted to go. And I always just respected that. I also admired that in that way, because it did give, in some instances, some access and just goals. I think it just kind of aligned us in terms of where we were, where we were going, because it was rough. The first few years, I tell people today, like, people don't know, like, when you talk about rough, like, it was rough, like, right after college and that sort of transition into you graduated. What is your career? Like you said, retail wasn't like first on your radar necessarily, although it is your background. Like, you did retail in your high school work and even throughout college. So it was sort of a natural fit, but then you kind of got outside of that when you started working for the county, which was interesting because I've always been in public service. And that could have been like weekends, holidays, and strict. There's no overtime in public service. You clock in, you clock out at your shift, weekends, holidays off. And so that could have freed up time, but then the income potential is also very limited. And so there were so many reasons that
well, not to mention, I remember times where, juvenile corrections is something that unfortunately is a revolving door. And so you would see juveniles leave and then be back before the weekend, or they'll leave Thursday or something, and then by Monday they're already back. So you got to remember, in my 20s, I was outside. And so being outside, you go run into people. So I
Right.
was running into people that
He was running into at work.
yeah, exactly. And some of those
Or could have,
situations
yeah.
could have went the wrong way, depending
yeah.
on what happened inside the juvenile correction system. There were situations where I got written up for putting my hands on somebody who threatened me, and I wasn't going to wait for them to do something. They're 20 years old. Yes, they're under 18. Well, one of them, the guy was 18, and he was happened to be there on a juvenile warrant, and he thought he could control all 14 kids on there and get them to listen to him and whatnot. Long story short, things happened. I ushered him into a cell in a nice way. And I ended up getting written up for it. And then I seen him outside at a gas station when our son was in the back seat, in the car seat, and he didn't even know
wow.
it. It was one of them situations where I had to just, you know what? I just
I
left.
had no idea about that.
I left. But it was one of those things where you run into people, and I knew from that point, yeah, this isn't for me, because I'm young, I'm outside, I'm running into people, and this could have went a totally different way. So
Yeah,
I
for sure.
went back to retail.
I don't know. Did you not ever tell me that, or just?
Nah, I thought I might have told you that.
I do not recall that at all.
I might have told you.
Like, at all.
That was.
I recognize that. Yeah, that might have been one of the reasons, but I didn't know that there was like an actual incident.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
What about you? What do
about
you
me?
think? In the early parts, how did our jobs or careers affect us
I answered
early on?
already.
Okay.
How we aligned. I feel like we've always aligned. We've always has had an understanding of this was your career trajectory. You had a plan, you had a goal, and you was working your way up. And like I've always been behind you in that. And I appreciated that ambition that you had because I didn't have that. I was so focused, like my everything was my son, and that's all I wanted to do. That's why I think I said in one of the earlier episodes, I kind of got duped because we had an agreement that I wouldn't go into the workforce when I graduated until our son went to kindergarten. But then when our son turned 2, this guy was like, it's rough, I'm gonna need you to bring some paycheck home.
I didn't say it like
We
that.
gonna need 2 incomes in this household to be
realized
able
that.
to do the things that we wanna do
Exactly.
and have the things that he wants to have. And I'm like, I'll sacrifice. Like, I'm not into all of the shoes and bags and clothes, and I just wanna be home. Like, I'll sacrifice whatever if I could be home with my son, and I would have done so. But we did have to rough it out. It got tight. I remember a couple of times our electricity got cut off.
Shut down.
Got cut off. Yes.
Stressful times.
That was like our first off-campus apartment. That was rough. We had some rough, and I had a baby at that time. So we had some really tough times. And when that happened, I think you probably made a valid that point, like this will never happen again. We will never be in a situation where we're going to be struggling to that death. But early on, when we first had our son, it was not easy. What do you think is one sacrifice that we each made for work? For either in work or family.
You go first.
Sacrifice. I think the sacrifice came more so in family because I did do a lot of the things on my own. And I think your absence being at work with the odd schedule, because especially in those early years, you not only were you working 6 days a week, weekends, but it was a mandatory. You was there 2 or 3 nights in an evening. Like you had to work
10-hour shifts.
Yes. So I think some of that was a sacrifice in terms of not like we were building. It was a new marriage. I had a young son, but it also allowed me, and that's probably not the best word because it wasn't the healthiest situation by any means, but I overindulged being a mom, and I just coddled our son way too much. I didn't want to be away from him, but additionally, I think it impacted our parenting. and we'll talk about parenting. It'll be parenting one-on-one next time. So we'll go into depth a little bit more next episode. But I think I started to feel like you're not here. I'm the one that's here. I'm the one who takes care of him day in and day out. We have a routine. I'm the one who's teaching it. And so then when you're coming in, it's disruptive to what we have going on. And so I would say that's where there was some sacrifice in terms of I overindulged. And maybe that's not even a sacrifice because I was willing to do that. But that's where we disconnected, I think. And we I'll admit I missed the mark in terms of balancing your attempts in working and being a father and allowing you to be able to do so and just how that fit. I was also very young, so yeah, I'll leave it there.
Pause. That was for the editor of our video. So for me, I think time is definitely one of those sacrifices. Family time. You mentioned it, working a lot. That was probably the biggest one for me because I couldn't be there to see those early years of parenting and really do that. I can remember times coming in the house late and wanting him to be up and you were trying to put him to sleep and stuff like that. So that was when I was trying to get my playtime in, which didn't always line up. So the biggest thing was time.
Yeah. Right. And then maybe we can ask him too, like, how did that translate to him? Did he appreciate, or not appreciate, but did he understand that it was not by choice, but the sacrifice that you were making? Did he realize that it was really a sacrifice for you too? It wasn't like you chose or you wanted this, but it was more about the long-term goal and the big picture.
And I wonder when
how
he
that
noticed
landed
that.
with him.
When did he notice that? At 24 now,
Yeah.
when did he realize the sacrifice of retail hours and the position it put our family in? I think as he gotten older, he's realized that now.
Yeah.
But early on, he might not have seen that.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. It may have caused a little bit of tension. You know, like, where you at? Like, we going to, because remember we were doing that, he was doing that, it was that acting thing where he was singing and dancing and
That's right.
And I had to go all over.
John Casablanca.
No. But then it was an extension from that where he was doing the singing and dancing and stuff, and he was in this little group thing with that lady, Ohio Youth Entertainers. Yes, he did Ohio Youth Entertainers. You got a good memory. Mm-hmm. Yes, so we was driving all over Ohio, like some rural areas. Yes.
Ohio Youth Entertainers, guys, it was like sketch comedy. And if you could think of like how In Living Color was back in the day, it was for the kids. And so there was some sketch comedy and props and different things.
It was all kind of different
stuff.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Dancing, some acting. It was super cool. Yeah, so to be honest, I think that while I recognized what your goals and ambitions were, and I understood that this was a means to an end, and really that's how we were eating, because I was working for the county, Montgomery County at that time, and that pay, anybody knows about social services, you don't get paid all that much, and especially then. I think when I started to have to do some of those things that I wasn't necessarily comfortable with, and where other people had their spouses there on the weekends, that I may have started to carry some resentment in that space. Like, is there something else that you could do? Like, is it this job? You know, like, you know. So I think that, again, being in our 20s, being young, and some of the things that we were up against, you know, it was compounding things and they kind of snowballed. I would definitely admit that I was kind of resentful that I was showing up for holidays by myself in some instances. I was traveling to take our son here and there, many a weekend, soccer games, showing up by myself. So it kind of it's like, what is this relationship when I don't really seem to have a partner in this? Like, it's just all on me. And
listen, it was stressful. I missed some good games, and he was a beast in soccer. So aside from just not being present, you know, for him, while he's doing sports, I also missed some great highlights. So by the time I start being able to peel off time, run my own store instead of being a co-manager. Then I could like pop in those games, get some good videos. If you Google Young Michael on YouTube, there's probably about 15 or 16 videos of him dominating out there in Little League Soccer as a side note. But yeah, he was a beast.
What was it like building careers while building a marriage?
Well, I think it's just what we've been talking about. I think we've been able to adapt to, at least my career from my standpoint. You've been able to adapt into this retail lifestyle that a lot of spouses wouldn't adapt to or wouldn't have friction. And I thank you for that, because at the end of the day, I needed you to be there as a partner so that when I figured out what I needed to do and how I needed to navigate this space, long term it would work for us. Short time, I might not be around as often because I got to figure this thing out. So
for the record, do I hear you saying that
there she go, for the record, guys.
I'm flexible, I'm adaptable.
You adapted.
And I am, we'll just leave it at that. I'm flexible and I'm adaptable. I didn't give you any hard times.
Not that I can recall. You did great. You did great.
I did great.
You did great.
Oh, wow. That is so nice of you to say.
Can we get a cheers on that?
I did great.
You did great.
Thank you.
Adaptability is
Adaptability.
one of your strong attributes.
I mean, it might have translated into some other stuff, right? But I didn't like.
I mean, you knew what the hustle was about. So
Yeah.
Respect.
Right. Yeah, it may have translated in other ways some of the frustrations that I was having,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we used to talk about that a lot, because it wasn't like it's just one thing, right? Like, so while I'm flexible and adaptable, because you're already gone, long hours, there's missed moments, those things were frustrating for me in and of themselves, but I was understanding when it came to your work. The problem started coming in when it was already that existing stuff, but then when you would come home, it would be, oh, I'm stopping for a drink, or I'm meeting such and such out,
Right.
or or when you were off, you was going off with somebody else and it wasn't me or it wasn't us. And that's where I think some of our challenges. So it wasn't like directly related to the work, because if you were probably a regular schedule and you wanted to go and do some of those things from time to time, it wouldn't have been as much of an issue for me as it was because you were not present most of the time, and then you didn't want to be present when you did have the time. And so that was super.
I can see that.
Yeah, that was super frustrating for me.
And on the flip side,
and
for
he
me,
would say to me, "I don't always got to be around you. We don't always got to be together."
I don't remember
can have
saying that exactly.
Oh
Did
my
I?
God.
Did I say that?
That's not even the worst of some things that you've said to me during those
so let
early
me
years.
say something.
Remember, this is the early years. We're talking about the past, and we're kind of,
Working our way up, right?
Yes.
And I think I might have mentioned this in the earlier episode that, aside from being a career and husband, dad, you got friends and you want to catch up with your boys. And some of that was that. And anybody that works retail and you're putting in those nights and weekends, and I think I can recall having to close 2 nights a week, which was like a 12 to 9 type thing sometimes. It was after that moment that I was like, hey, let's get a drink or whatever. It just came at a bad time. But sometimes you need those relaxing beers and whatever, because retail is not easy.
No.
It's not easy by no means.
I'd be like, why can't you relax at home?
Just trying to juggle
That was my
having
thing.
a career and everything.
How's that relaxing to you? Like, this is supposed to be relaxing to you. You'd be like, you sleep anyway. Are you going to sleep anyway? That's
right.
beside the fact. I
Right.
wanted my husband to come home from work. And for a long time, my husband did not want to come home after work.
I was in them streets.
He was in them streets and proud about it, if we're being honest.
Oh, man.
So what's one thing we still don't understand about each other's jobs? I don't think he ever understood anything about my job, to
Yeah,
be honest. I don't like public service, social service. I don't think you even ever really attempted. And not to toot my own horn, but to toot my own horn. there was a short period of time where I was in one county, then I went to another county. And for a long time, when our son was young, I didn't have a lot of career ambition. I wanted to go to work and come home. I was getting a paycheck because he told me I had to. If I'm being honest, like I wanted to be a mom. And then I realized like my son is getting older. I only have one. Like I need to figure out what I'm going to do with myself and what I really want to do. And that's when I started to like focus on my career a little bit. And I had like 4 promotions in 4 years when I went from Franklin County. I got a promotion there, and within a year and a half, I got a promotion when I went to the state. Within a year and a half, I got another promotion within the state, and within a year and a half, I got another promotion also within the state.
So was that due to the fact that you just locked in, and once you made a conscious decision, like, you know what? I'm gonna
right, because it was sorted, because I had to propel it, because I had done like for 10 years, I kind of stayed in the same position, and I was like proud to let you go and like rah, go get this money for us. Yeah. Like, go get this money. Then I realized, like, I might want to get some of my own money.
You can do more, right?
I can, right. My son, he's trying to go do his thing a little bit more. He's getting older. I'm like, what am I going to do with myself, Michael? So I had to fast pace that. I'm saying all that to say, though, I don't even know if he knows, like, 1, that happened at that rate, and 2, what each of those positions were.
No, I'm not gonna even sit here and act like I knew. I did not know. I remember the raises, but I did not know. I couldn't tell you what you did at each stage of those.
He remembered the raises. He's all about that money.
It could be worse things.
He remembers the raises.
I remember the raises, but to know what you do, I mean, I probably know more about now and being public health and whatnot than I did when you was in Ohio, but.
Yeah, so that's me. What do you think is something that we don't understand about each other's jobs? He doesn't understand anything about my work at all.
Right. More now because I hear the conference calls and I hear y'all talking and stuff like that. But yeah, in detail, no. No. I couldn't do it.
Do you think that there are things that I don't understand about your job?
Yes. I and you may say you do. But if you, like I said this before, if you shadow me for a day, you would realize like there's a lot of emotional, social intelligence stuff that you got to be aware of. And just managing people, managing a team, expectations, accountability. Like there's, everything rolled up in one. Man, there's a lot. Especially my previous job before this one. Oh, man.
He definitely doesn't know what I do because I've managed teams in 2 of those positions of those promotions.
Yeah, but not in retail.
He doesn't even recognize that I did that. Like,
not in retail. It's
so
different.
This is again like how in tune or how much do you pay attention or know about your partner and some of the communication issues or challenges that may exist.
There's a big difference from managing at what you were doing in Ohio. Versus,
so there's
a big difference. I'm not saying I didn't know that you managed people because I definitely knew you had a team because I met with them and they came to the house.
It's not so different.
What I'm saying is
people are people no matter the environment.
No way.
And this is what we don't understand about each other's things.
Like
people are people.
The last position I had, and I'm managing people who are running these stores and creating that expectation and doing store visits and walking these people through, like it's way different. Because you got to be able to motivate people to do their job when they're not doing their job or where you feel like they can do better. Like, I don't feel like you, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you had to really analyze your team on a weekly basis on how well and how effective they're doing their job and then push them to do better. Because people don't like to be outside their comfort zone. So every week I'm walking stores, and if I don't like what I see, we got to have those conversations.
I think it's a different
it's like no time
work,
off.
But the performance piece of it exists, but we're not talking about at work, but there's still performance.
I just want to dig into that a little bit because I think there's a difference in managing public health or in just the public side of things, and then
it's not managing the public side of people. We're talking about managing people. People are people. They just work in different environments. So personalities, motivation, ambition, interest, like mood swings. Like all of
I
those
get that.
things. So the place is people. The bottom line is managing people.
I think what you don't
the type of work doesn't matter. It's still people. But that's
I think what you don't understand is in retail, everything is tied to a metric. Okay?
yes.
I'm successful because I know how to get things done through people, right? And you're always chasing a metric. With that metric is associated behaviors that help move the needle on that metric. And in the public side of things where you've worked many of years, I'm not saying you guys don't have goals about what you're trying to do, but what I'm saying is there's not a ton of metrics tied to it that you have to push day in and day out. It's not like that. It's super intense, right? And people can't function in that. You have to
I'll
come
give
up
you
in that
that.
system and be able to function in that type of environment.
I'll give you that.
It's a way different management.
Government is
piece,
slower, and we have different bureaucratic stuff,
man. Yeah.
red tape that kind of limits some of that. So I'll give you that. But back to Clash. Like, what do you think has been one of the biggest career decisions that maybe caused a little bit of tension or friction?
Wow. Career decisions that cause the most friction and tension. I would say the biggest one is probably moving here. I mean, there's a lot of changes that happened in my career, but it's always been in Ohio.
Agreed.
So the moment I took this job in Wisconsin, it's like, and having to come here a year before the family comes up was a big deal. It was a big step. But I felt like the comfort in knowing that I prepared my whole life for this very moment made it a little easier. It by no means did it make it easy at all, and you can speak from the standpoint of what that looks like from your side, but I knew that being able to come here, set up shop, and see if it's something that I really like and I really want to do before having you all come up and not have to look back. But when you pray to God for increase and you pray that you get a position of influence and you can really change the game, it shows up how it shows up. So that's why it's important that you got to be specific when you pray about whatever you want, because the universe will answer it. So I wasn't specific. I didn't say I want to be in Florida or Arizona or Houston, Texas, or any place like that. I just said I wanted a certain position, and it showed up. So to me, that was the biggest one.
I would agree. And not because it was, like he said, we're from Ohio, Wisconsin. He came here a year prior to me leaving my career that I was sort of propelling, at this fast pace, and was getting closer to another opportunity, actually,
right.
Just because there were some things that were transpiring at that position, and was making more money at that point of my career that I had ever made. And so it was hard for me to leave. I also didn't want to, so it was hard for me to leave for that reason. It was hard for me to leave because I also didn't want to, like you said, I think that was the first time in our careers that we were kind of more aligned in what we were making. You had always, being in the public sector, made significantly more than me. But then at that time, I felt like I was on the same playing field.
You was in your groove. Yeah.
I was in my groove, and we were, kind of better aligned in terms of what we were making. And I finally caught up to you, if you will. Not that it's a competition, although everything's a competition.
Yeah.
So that, but also I have been saying, like, for years, let's leave Ohio. Why are we here? Like, there's nothing here. It's cold. It's gray. You can see it's gray right now. It's cold. It's gray. I want palm trees. I want sun. I want this. I want that. If we can be by water, I would have loved to be by water. And he was so focused on, he really didn't want to be too far from family. Although we didn't even really see family as much as you would think that we would. And it wasn't even a super priority for some of our family to be intentional that every holiday we were actually together. So that never really made any sense to me. But you were content also with sort of the connections that you were making, the network, and sort of, the work that you had done. So he really wasn't interested in leaving Ohio. And I said, I want to be near water. And so then when this opportunity came up, it was out of the blue. Again, you had been into the role that you were in for under 2 years. And that was what you needed. That was like the next big thing where you had multi units or whatever. And then before I know it, he's like, I got this opportunity.
It's in Wisconsin. Hey, there's water here. I got you a bottle of water though. It's Lake Michigan right here.
We are next to Lake Michigan.
Wrong water, right?
Lake Michigan is beautiful, surprisingly. I hadn't seen it before coming to Wisconsin, so it did yield me that opportunity, and I am grateful. But as to your earlier point, that's why it is be purposeful and intentional about what you ask for, because you're right.
It'll show up.
It'll show up. And it does. And I think about that in so many spaces in our lives in terms of things that have happened. It may have been 5 years, it may have been 7 years, but things like really fell into place. So all of that to say, yes, I am not where I want to be, but I also am excited because it's a new journey. It's a new experience. It was interesting to experience what it was like with you being here for 1 year, me staying back home for 1 year, and a lot of things changed, I think, during that time. A lot of things happened and a lot of things changed during that time. And we're here, and this is a journey, and I'm excited about like our next move, because our next move is going to be our best move.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I said it every move.
I keep saying that. Right. Our next move is going to be our best move, and we're being intentional. We're being purposeful about where it is that we want to go. And I think I'm okay. Like, I've even recently, and I probably shouldn't be saying this, but more recently, I'm like, it could be that one place where it's not like where I definitely want to sit, but it's going to yield us the opportunity where I can get to where I really want to be.
Well, you got to keep in mind, and I don't mind sharing this with the people, is that I told you a long time ago that I would be able to retire you if you just stuck with it and followed me through whatever these journeys that I had to get to this point, and you'll be able to retire early, and I'm still standing on that. So
Speak it.
So for me, it was just like, do what you got to do, and the rest will fall into place.
So here we are.
Overlooking the city.
Nice view.
So.
Nice games. So that does it for episode 3 of Career Dreams versus Married Reality. Thanks for tuning in with us. Subscribe, share, comment. Tell us what you want us to dig into deeper. Tell us how you've navigated in some of these space. And tune in next time for Parenting 101 without the manual.
Without the manual.
Peace.
Peace, folks.
That one was harder, wasn't it?
No. I think one of the things that we got to make sure, let me stop just real quick.